This video is a common practice
to
drawing
talk about
is the importance
something
of
called
measurement
line
contour
in
drawing.
a
First of all,
scientific
what is
sketch.
a contour?
This
The
is
contour is
actually a
considered
finished
the
product
actual outline
that was published
just
in
a line
journal
that would follow
and
the edge of
what
something.
it's doing
This is
is
the
there is
outside
a
contour.
comparison between
You
this
don't
leaf
shade,
and that
you
leaf,
don't do the
this
spots,
branch, that
you
branch.
don't put in any
Two
specifics.
different
All you're doing
trees
is drawing the outline.
that are very closely related. What
So
this
why is it called
drawing
blind?
is trying to
It's called
show
blind
is
because you're not
what are
looking
those
at what
main
you're looking
differences.
at the object. You are not looking at what you're
So,
drawing.
to start,
We have this tendency
what does this
to look
mean?
up at an
It
object,
says 1 centimeter. Now, if
and then
I
we put our
look
face
at
down and we look down,
my handy-dandy
and we're going from memory,
dog's barking
not
'cause I just knocked
necessarily
that.
from what we actually
Okay.
observe.
if I
and when
mark
we do
this,
that,
if I show
what
you
happens
on my,
often
on my ruler
is
where 1
your
centimeter is,
your
it's
lazy
actually
brain
about right there.
takes over
So
and says,
this is pretty
I know what a
close.
feather looks
The 1
like. I don't
centimeter,
have to
1
draw it
centimeter
exactly the
is
way it
pretty
looks.
close. So
It just
these leaves
looks
are
like
close
this.
to actual
And
size.
so you're not actually drawing this
Now,
feather.
if you go down to this section where
To
it's
start
showing
your drawing,
the
you're going to have
entire
a piece of
branch,
drawing paper.
then you notice that 1
you're going to
centimeter
put
here is much shorter
pencil
than 1
down on the
centimeter
paper,
there.
somewhere in the middle.
What that means is that
You're going to either hold
the
an
centimeter
object,
or the size
or
of
just
this
put
branch
your hand
is actually much
where you
bigger
can see it.
than 1 centimeter.
Notice
So if I measure
that I'm looking away
okay,
from
that would be about
where my drawing hand is. I will not be
centimeters.
looking
So
at the drawing
if from the
until
top
I'm
of this
finished.
6.
So the first thing you do is find a spot. You know, maybe my spot's going to be, let's make it,
7.
maybe my spot's going to be right here. Okay, so I will
So maybe
start
about
and I'm going to
12
look at this. I'm
centimeters
going to look at it very carefully,
right here.
and I'm going to, my
Maybe a
hand
little
over
bit
here
bigger, but
is
that
going to
section
be
of
drawing
branch is
the
actually quite a bit bigger
outside
than
line
the original.
that I am seeing. So if there's a space where it
The-
comes back, I will be drawing the
And
space
then
that
in
comes
this
back.
case,
Goes back out.
you'll
I will be
notice that
drawing
this is
that.
not 1
If
centimeter.
there's places
It
where
is.
there's little
You can't see
edges, it's
Try to
1
get it
so you can
millimeter.
see it. Okay.
Well,
So
millimeter
if there's
pretty
places,
small.
maybe there's a jagged
So what that
edge,
shows you
anything
is
like that.
that this
I
entire
am
thing,
going to be drawing
which
that.
is, by the way, the
and
male and female
very,
parts
very
of the flower.
slowly, I'm going to be moving my
This entire
eye
thing
and my
is
pencil
very,
at the
very
same
small.
rate
Same
until
goes for the fruits.
I get all
this is
the
a
way
bract,
around,
what they call a bract.
putting
that is
everything
around
in
the
that
flower.
I see,
And this is
Okay.
the fruit
until I go all the way
of
around
that
and come
one,
back to
and
where I
then
started.
the other side. At
So
that
really
point,
important
to measure.
You can turn and look
you
at what you drew.
also can use, excuse me,
I'm going to tell
you can
you
also use measurement.
that it won't probably look like a feather or
You can
whatever
use
object you started with.
Measurement as
You're
I'm gonna
recording,
get
you're
this
observing, but you know, you probably have
You can
squiggles
also
all
use
over the place.
measurement
It might
to
help you
gauge,
figure out. One of the
what
things I forgot to
proportions
mention
are.
is that once you put your pencil down
what
on
do I
the
mean
page,
by proportion?
from your starting point, you do not
I
lift
mean,
the pencil
for
until
example,
it is time,
I'm going to get
until you
close
get all the way
here.
around and you get back to your
A
starting point.
proportion
That is when you lift your
is
pencil, so you're not
how long
looking
is this
and you're not lifting
compared to
the
how
pencil.
wide it is.
Those two things are very important.
Probably seen
When you get done,
the artist
You know,
holding up
you
the
probably have
pencil,
something that you want to
and
laugh at a little.
measuring
Don't
with their
expect
finger
it
on the
to
pencil.
look great. That's
Um,
not what a blind
So
contour
what that
drawing
would do
is about.
say,
So
so
I'd
the
like you to
width
do that as a
of
practice.
this is maybe
If
about
you want to send me a
half
picture, or
as wide as it is long.
or
Just
or,
a proportion. That
that's the word
helps
I
you
want.
when you're actually
or
drawing
attach it
whatever
to
it is you're
this
drawing.
week's assignment. That would be great. And
One
then,
of the things we
can
do
show them to
in
each other.
sketching
And
science
maybe
is
maybe
we
get to laugh
also
about
take
everybody.
actual measurements.
That
And
is
then
a
we do the
blind
conversion
contour
to
drawing.
if this whole thing is 2.5 centimeters long, then 1 centimeter equals this. Most of you probably have done proportions and fractions in math class. Guess what? You use math in drawing as well as in science. All right. Your assignment, as I said before, is to find two similar but not exactly the same objects. Please make them natural objects, and don't make them two rocks. Rocks are a whole different ball game. So you really need a microscope to show how rocks differ from each other. We're not going to do microscopes. Okay, so what I want you to do is to start by drawing a light line. You can use your ruler. Draw a light line down the center of your paper. So on one side, you are going to have the, this would be a variety or species 1, and this would be 2 over here. And if you have names for them, you could put Granny Smith or, whatever it is under that. Now, if you don't know what it is, then this will help us figure out the actual species, or the bone, or the whatever it is you're comparing. Okay, so on this one, you're going to draw a contour sketch. It's not going to have any shading. One of the things I want you to realize is for this kind of drawing, the shading is pretty minimal. You're only going to be drawing the outside contour and the inside parts that are really important. For example, in this, the veins of the leaf and what they look like are very important, right? You can do different views. This view is, backed off from the branch. This one is a close-up. This one, I believe I actually had to use a microscope to look at it. Definitely a magnifying glass. And same with this, but they're very simple. There's no shading, or very little shading. You notice a few of them, I have a few little dots that represent shading. But that's pretty much the extent of it for this kind of drawing. You don't need to do this kind of thing where you're putting A, B, C, D. You're not doing that. Just make sure that on one side of the paper you're drawing the same part or perspective as you are on the other side of the paper for the two different objects. That part should be fairly you should probably be able to figure that one out. But of course, as usual, you can always ask me questions. There was one other part of this that I did want to mention. Okay, and that is, whoops, when you're drawing a certain perspective, it's really, really easy, especially if it's not something that's laying flat, and especially if you are not, if it's upright, which I can't really show here very well, but if it's upright, it's really easy to move your head or for the object to move slightly, and suddenly you are looking at a totally different view and it's not going to be accurate. I have several ways that I try to deal with that. If it is not something flat that I can lay down, I will use something, even my kneaded eraser, and use it almost like clay to hold my object in a specific place. And it stays there until my drawing is done. The moving of the eye is a whole nother story because we tend to move our heads around a lot. It's really hard to keep the same view all the time, especially if you're looking up or looking down on something. My solution for that is quite often to make up a pile of something and have the thing setting upright. And I will show you that momentarily after I get it set up. It looks like I'll have to start another little video session, and so I will pause this.